Central Kansas and McPherson County in specific has always been home to Tim and Terri Bornholdt. Tim was raised on the family farm just outside of Inman, a farm first established by his grandfather, Harry, in 1921. Farming was Tim's ambition early on. He owned his first beef calves at the age of 15 and rented his first quarter of farm ground at age 18. Terri grew up on her family's farm just outside of nearby Windham. Both graduated from Hutchinson Community College, after which Tim returned directly to the farm to start a 45-year farming partnership with his dad, James.
Dad and I worked together every day, 6 days a week, and run cattle and farm together. Pieces of ground come along and able to pick them up as they came available to us, and so that's kind of how we got started anyway.
Terri, meantime, eventually joined her father in the family's insurance business, Raleigh Insurance, that supplemented their farm income, and she specialized in crop insurance over a 30-year career.
My dad had a P&C agency where he did farms and homes, and it was just about when the multi-peril crop insurance started really rolling. So I kind of took over that part of the insurance, and as that grew, I had one of our sales reps from one of our companies approach me and asked me if I had ever thought of doing the paperwork for some other agencies that wanted to offer it, but they didn't want to mess with all the rules and the paperwork. At that time, my dad was retiring, and my brother bought the agency, so my brother and I started Sunflower Service Center, and that just grew and grew and became more of an entity of its own. At one point, we had 14 agencies that we serviced, and it met lots of people statewide, and it was a wonderful job, and I don't necessarily miss the job, but I miss the people.
Tim and Terri were married in 1984 and soon after purchased their first quarter and a farmstead near the family's main homestead. The Bornholdts have always been contemporary and progressive in how they approach their crop and cattle production. With an agricultural mechanics degree in hand, Tim has always been comfortable with embracing the latest agricultural technology. Bornholdt Farms, LLC, went to complete no-till cropping in 1999. Wheat, corn, soybeans, alfalfa, rye, triticale, and prairie hay make up their production. Site-specific and variable rate input management are well ingrained in their production, as are cover crops, which provide an alternative forage resource for their cattle as well. Implementation of AI breeding, ultrasound, and electronic identification have bolstered their beef production. They background calves as well as run a 200-head breeding herd. Terri is the chief bookkeeper for it all. The Bornholdts now operate 3,800 acres of crop ground and pasture, over 1/3 of that owned, the rest rented.
None of it would have been available without the good Lord and Savior first, but I'm not sure that I had an approach other than trying to follow my grandfather and dad's footsteps somewhat, that we didn't go out and look for ground or try to take ground from anybody. We had people along the way that offered ground to us, and we slowly picked up ground that way. And I don't know that I had a philosophy on how we increased acres. It just kind of happened, you might say.
The Lord brought us what we needed, and we never really had other than the early 80s, we didn't have a real stressful time as far as, we've got to pick up some more ground. It just naturally happened.
The Bornholdts are renowned for their commitment to soil and water conservation, having won awards for implementing conservation practices such as terrace and waterway construction and windbreaks. Tim and Terri have 2 children, Cody and Katie. Cody, like his dad, has returned, along with his wife Ashley, to carry on the farm's legacy full-time.
My dad enjoyed the cattle more than the farming. I was the opposite. I enjoyed farming more than cattle, and Cody's just the opposite again. And so it worked out really well. They came back and was able to get started, and they got some ground of their own that they farmed to as well, and we farmed some together. And I was fortunate, I guess, when we came back to farm with Dad, that Dad kind of allowed me to take care of the farming side of it. We kind of managed it together, but he allowed me to step into that and have some ownership to it. And that's what I've tried to do with Cody now, where they enjoy the cattle side. Well, whatever you think, and you're in charge, you know what you want to do with it. It was a blessing. I mean, Dad needed me in the latter years to be here, and I'm in that position now. I need the kids to be able to continue. I can't do it all by ourselves, you know. So it's worked out well.
And Katie has come home as well with her husband Adam and their son Cash to live on the farmstead she grew up on. Both Cody and Katie were accomplished 4-H and FFA members. Tim and Terri's community achievements span quite wide. Tim has served on the McPherson County Planning and Zoning Board for 16 years and his Township Board for 22 years. Both Tim and Terri are involved with Extension leadership, serving on the County Program Development Committee. Additionally, Terri served on the McPherson County Foundation Board, was instrumental in the establishment of the Inman Community Foundation, and is the coordinator of the Inman Food Pantry.
That's kind of been a passion of mine, is making sure that our local neighbors are taken care of. And it's just how I was brought up, that you saw a need, you tried to help it.
Being able to help out, and, you know, Mom always took stuff when people passed away.
Taught as a young person, that's becomes your way of life. That just becomes part of who you are. You know, when I was in business, it was easy to, you know, help support other people's projects, and that's important too. Everybody's talents are different. Some people have the hands to do the work, and other people have the money to help it make it happen. So you gotta figure out where you're at and in the cogs of it. Helping others and being part of the community is important.
Also, Tim and Terri are deeply involved in the leadership of their local church, and their commitment to community is expressed in other ways. They've marketed their own beef to friends and neighbors in the Inman area over the last 30 years, and they've continued a long-standing Bornholdt family tradition of making Christmas chocolate candies and sharing with area friends, families, landlords, and businesses. Through their 43 years in production agriculture, the Bornholdts have become models of farming success, and they look forward to the next generations to carry the family torch. Tim and Terri Bornholdt, Kansas Master Farm Family, Class of 2024.